Hello FretWellers and welcome back to my Minecraft tutorial series. This is episode 93, and in today's episode we're going to be looking at the new blocks and flowers and plants that were added into the game in Minecraft 1.7. So we're back here at the cottage again. It's been a long time, just kind of getting settled back in again. I built more of an extensive storage room and we're still kind of in the midst of doing so, but I think now's a good time to take a break from that and actually build a tutorial. Record a tutorial. So good to see you again, Alfred. I like the new map that we've got going on there. We'll talk about that in the next episode, and we'll talk about Alfred's map there. So, in my ender chest here we have all the flowers, plants, blocks, and items, apart from the bricks, of course, that were added into the game in Minecraft 1.7. And we're going to take a look at them and their properties and their uses today. So, I think the first thing to do is obviously going to be to get all of these items out of here. And you're going to need a silk touch pick and probably a pair of shears, to be honest with you, in order to kind of follow along here with today's tutorial. So, okay, here we go. It's daytime, which is always good, so we can kind of work here in the daylight. I'm going to head outside here and just kind of pick up a nice little test spot, I guess right here should be fine. And we're first going to look at this block right here, and this is Podsol. So Podsol we collected from the Mega Tiger biome. That's the only place that it generates, and this is what it looks like. It looks a bit like a dirt block slash grass block, but it looks a little bit different. You can only harvest it back up with a silk touch pickaxe, so I have one right here. Well, any silk touch item essentially, I just only have a silk touch pick. It's the only way you can get it back. Unlike grass and mycelium, it will not spread to other blocks like dirt, grass, mycelium. It will just stay to the block that it is. So if I put this here, that would never ever spread to any blocks around it. It would just remain that sole Podsol block. There's not too many uses for this. It's just a decorative block. If you break it normally, you'll just get dirt back, similar to the way grass works. There really isn't too much to talk about with this, honestly. It's just kind of a decorative block. I've seen a lot of uses for it with sort of like flower beds and things like that, as you can put certain types of flowers on there, I believe, flower pots and stuff like that. And also, it can hold mushrooms, just like mycelium, and mushrooms will grow on Podsol, and they behave in the same way. And we'll talk more about mushrooms and mycelium when we go and find a mushroom biome. That's one of the few things we haven't done yet, but because of the amount of stuff in a mushroom biome, I decided to leave that out of last episode's tutorial. So that's Podsol in a nutshell. There's not too much that it does. So we're going to move on here to red sand. Red sand is a sand block. It looks exactly like normal sand, but it's red. You can break it down with a shovel or your fist and get red sand back. It's just basically a variant of sand that only spawns in the mesa biome. It's a pretty cool building block, but aside from that, there's not too much to do with it. If you try and craft sandstone out of it, you can't actually craft sandstone according to the crafting grid there. Supposedly you were able to craft sandstone with it, but that's obviously changed in this update. And if you put it in a furnace, you'll just get regular glass back. You won't get red stained glass or anything like that. And we'll talk about stained glass in another tutorial there. But yeah, apparently it was able to be crafted into sandstone at one point, but that was obviously changed. So it's just simply now a decorative block that you could use for certain projects. I've not seen it used too much, but it is a nice block nonetheless. So now we'll talk about the final block that was added in 1.7 to do with biomes and survival mode, and this is the packed ice. So this is packed ice. It only generates in the ice plain spikes biome, which we went a long way to find, and it needs to be broken down only with silk touch. You can't use a regular pick or your fist. It will break the block, but you will get nothing back, similar to the way regular ice works. This has some unique properties to it, and this is probably the most useful of the three. You can build like item chutes and stuff, and this will never melt. It's a solid block, and if I put torches next to it or whatever, that will never ever melt. And it also behaves like regular ice in the sense that you can slide on it and stuff like that. So it's a pretty cool block. It's good for making ice paths in the nether to get around to different portals quickly. We'll probably build some of those at some point, and we'll do a tutorial on that, but that's not what we're going to be doing today. And that's packed ice in a nutshell. There's not too much to talk about. It's basically like regular ice, but it never melts, and that's about it, honestly. You can see, whoops, see items flow down it as well and stuff like that. So pretty cool stuff all around, I have to say. And as I say, you have to pick it up with Silk Touch in order to get it back. So they are the 3 blocks that were added to the game, for survival mode at least. So not too much to talk about with them, honestly. They're just nice little pretty decorative blocks. Only the packed ice really actually has a use. And we're just going to put those in there for the time being to give you some inventory room here. Oops. And now we're going to head outside. Although it is approaching nighttime here, so probably going to go to sleep soon. And we're going to talk about... Well, we can quickly talk about sugarcane. That was slightly changed. So sugarcane now has been slightly retextured. Just get some sugarcane here. It's slightly been retextured, and also it displays a colour now dependent on biome. So it will have different colours depending on where it actually generates in the world now. So pretty cool stuff. You can use it decoratively. We might use it decoratively around different water lakes and stuff in the plains here, but I don't have too many plans regarding that. So that's the slight tweak to sugarcane there. I'm just going to quickly pass the night, and then we'll talk about the new flowers, which is really the main aim of this tutorial, honestly, is to talk about the flowers. But I thought I would roll in the blocks and the sugarcane in there with it, because they're pretty small to talk about on their own. So it made sense to roll it in with this one. So a bunch of new flowers were added to the game in Minecraft 1.7, and they are sort of split up into 3 categories really. There is 1 high flowers, 2 high flowers, and grasses and ferns essentially. And we'll talk about the saplings here in a minute. So there are a set of 2 high flowers, which we're going to talk about first. There is the peony, the rosebush, the lilac, and a sunflower. And these are all 2 high. As you can see, they're 2 blocks high. The sunflower will always spawn facing east. That's just the way the sunflower works. It will always look east. So that's a good way to tell direction if you don't like using the F3 screen. It's also the direction the sun rises in. And apparently that's based off of real life, where when sunflowers become an adult plant, they always face east, whereas when they're sort of younger plants, they follow the sun throughout the day, which is the common myth that everyone has with sunflowers. I guess I'll put that back for now. These flowers have some unique properties in a sense that they can't be placed in flower pots like the 1 high ones, but you can bone meal them to get more of them. So as you can see, I bone mealed a rosebush there, and I got another one. Same for the peony, the lilac, and the sunflower. And these can produce dye. They all produce 2 respective dye. So we've got 2 rose red dye there from the rosebush. We also have 2 yellow dye from the sunflower. We have 2 pink dye from the peony, and from the lilac we have 2 magenta dye. So mainly people will use these for the rose bushes and the sunflowers in terms of dye. But the other 2 are also very decorative based items as well, and they can make nice decorations for, you know, front yards and things like that, and just generally just being placed around in groups. They make nice decoration here. And these guys will spawn, the sunflowers will only spawn in sunflower plains obviously, but the other 3 will generate in a multitude of biomes, but notably the only 2 biomes you can find all 3 of these in are the roofed forest and the birch forest. So bear that in mind here. I'm going to pick these up as we don't need these for right now. So now I think we'll talk about, let's talk about the saplings here. We'll take a slight change of pace before going back to the regular flowers. So there are 2 new saplings added to the game, and they give us the 2 new wood types. We have acacia, and you just need 1 sapling for acacia, and you can bone meal it or you can let it grow, and you'll get an acacia tree. You chop it down with an axe, you'll get saplings back from it, and you get this acacia wood. I personally don't like this wood very much, but some people do. It's up to the individual person, I guess. And you can craft planks out of this. It has unique planks. We're going to craft these up. So you put one piece of wood in the crafting grid to get the acacia wood planks, just like every other type of wood. And we'll leave all but a couple there. And you can also make... I'm going to put some things in an ender chest, actually. Let's put away... Let's see, what can I put away now? Not much. Sticks, I guess, torches, sugarcane. There we go. Should be plenty for right now. So you can also craft slabs. You can put 3 in the crafting grid like so. You get acacia wood slabs. You can also craft stairs. Like that, and you get acacia wood stairs. And they're the things you can craft from acacia wood, and we'll take a look at what they look like out here. So we'll put the wood down, the plank, the stair, and the slab. There we go. And you need an axe to break all of these down in the most efficient way, but you can break them down with your fist if you want to. So these are what they look like. Now, one unique thing that has changed, and this is not just for the acacia and dark oak wood types, but for all wood types, the cap of the log block texture now reflects what the side looks like. So, as you can see here, it's you can see the ring around the edge there that wasn't there before. So that's pretty cool stuff, I have to say. I really like that change. Allows for a lot more design possibilities, and I'll kind of let you explore with that. I don't have all the saplings on me right now, and it's not really something that's really worth covering other than just a quick mention there. So that's what they look like. As I say, I'm not the biggest fan of those blocks, honestly. They just don't really fit well with anything that I've found. Maybe the jungle and acacia will go together nicely. I don't know, honestly. Haven't built with them too much. I don't think anyone has. So we'll put those away here. And now we're going to look at the dark oak. So we'll get this out. And by the way, you can shear leaves down. They have their own unique leaves. Well, I guess we'll do that before it decays. Oops. There we are. And you can get unique leaves. They look the same, though, honestly, as oak leaves. There you go. Acacia leaves. It's just mainly based on leaf decay, I think, more than anything else. So there we go. That's acacia trees. So now let's take a look at the dark oak. Now, in order to grow dark oak, you need to put a 2x2 square down, like that, similar to how you would grow a giant jungle tree. And you can bone meal it or let it grow, and you'll get a nice big dark oak tree. And you can chop it down with an axe. Fairly standard stuff, honestly. And you get quite a bit of dark oak. These are good for tree farming, honestly, because they give you a lot of wood in a compact area. Whereas the jungle giants and the mega tiger trees require a bit more room to grow. And I guess that's worth a mention, actually. You can grow those mega tiger trees we saw in the last episode by putting down a 2x2 square of spruce saplings. I don't have any on me right now, but you can do that. And you'll get dark oak saplings back from this. If you shear it, you'll get dark oak leaves. Again, that's more based on leaf decay. It looks exactly the same as oak. But pretty cool stuff nonetheless. So that's what the log block looks like there. I'm just going to create a workbench out here. We have enough. And I'm not going to create a chest. I don't think we need a chest. So we'll make some planks. And we'll also make some slabs and stairs. So planks, stairs, and slabs. There we go. All crafted in the standard way. So planks, stairs, and slabs. These are a pretty nice building block. Probably the one thing I would use this for is sort of like sea-based builds, like pirate ships and stuff. It's a very worn looking type wood, unlike the regular oak. So you can make some pretty nice builds with that. I've seen this used quite a bit more. And also, this is one of the best trees to farm for stuff like sticks and things like that, because of how short they grow, but how many log blocks you get from a tree. So that's something to bear in mind there. So now that we've talked about those, I guess it's onto the flowers. I'm just going to put a couple of things away again here to give us some inventory room. We're going to talk about the one high flowers. So let me go down here. And we'll put in these into the ender chest. And I'll keep the crafting table for now, I guess. And I'm also going to create some flower pots. And the crafting table right here. And just make a bunch. Because they're pretty handy, honestly, and we're going to be using them in a moment. And in fact, I'll craft all of them up, and we'll have 6 flower pots. That's plenty. So, let's head out here again, and we'll kind of use this area, maybe, as a test area. So, there was a bunch of 1 high flowers added to the game as well, and the difference between the 2 high flowers and the 1 high flowers is that you can't bone meal them, but you can actually, as a kind of a trade-off to that, you can put these in flower pots that are a bit more flexible than some of the others are. And these guys, the reason I brought these out, the tall grass and the fern, well, just slight side topic here, is to show you the large fern and the double tall grass that we saw last episode. Just bone meal each respective one, and you'll get large tall grass or large fern respectively. So, pretty cool stuff there. I just thought I would show you that. So, we have the flowers here. Orange tulip, pink tulip, and white tulip, and I think there is some red tulips. Yeah, there is. There we go. All flowers are off-centered off the block, like tall grasses. That wasn't a thing in the last update. So there is that. We also have the poppy, which was rose prior to this update. As you can see, there are poppies everywhere. They were roses. They were just changed. You won't lose any of your existing roses. They all just become poppies. The allium, and oxy daisy, azure bluet, and I think that that's all of them. Oh wait, no, there's the blue orchid, and I think that that is everything. Yep, looks that way. So, but these flowers, only some spawn in certain biomes. So the blue orchid only generates in swampland biomes. The oxy daisy and the azure bluet, I believe, only generate in plains biomes. Poppies generate in most biomes, as with the dandelions over there. I'll pick up some saplings while I'm here. There we go. The alliums, I think, only generate in flower forests, and these generate in forests, albeit inconsistently. You really need to find a flower forest, and you'll get all of these, plus the 2 high flowers, apart from the blue orchid. The blue orchid is probably the hardest to get, as that only generates in swampland biomes. If you bone meal grass like this in its respective biome, you will get the new flowers. It's biome based, so if I went to a swampland, say the one over there, and started bone mealing, I would get those blue orchids. So building a flower farm is something we may look into in a future tutorial, but honestly I don't think it's too useful right now to us. And all of these flowers have respective dyes that they're associated with. So we'll take a look at that in a moment here. I don't want you going down there, Alfred, because I can't get you out. So here we go. We'll go over here again. Skelly burning up over there. Are there any creepers around? No, there's some zombies, but I don't think they're going to be too much of a problem. Okay, so back on topic here. Each of these flowers can be turned into dye. Orange tulips, for example, are orange dye. Red tulips are red dye. I mean, this is fairly standard. White tulips is light grey dye. The reason why you don't get any white dye is actually bone meal. So that would be a really easy way of just duplicating flowers and stuff all the time. So that's why that was not chosen. Poppies are 1 red dye. It used to be 2, but that's no longer the case. Dandelions are only 1 yellow dye now compared to 2. Because obviously we have the sunflowers and the rose bushes. Azure bluets will give you a light grey dye. Oxy daisy will give you a light grey dye. Allium will give you magenta dye. Blue orchids will give you light blue dye. And I think we've mentioned them all. We mentioned all the roses. Yeah, we mentioned them all. So they're all the dyes that you can get from these various different flowers here. I'm going to pick them up now. And you can just break these. You don't need silk touch or shears or anything. You just pick them up with your fists or whatever. In order to pick up tall grass or ferns, you will need shears though, as I'm sure you've already seen. I think we talked about that in a prior tutorial. So, all of these 1 high flowers can be placed in flower pots like so. If I break the flower pot, you're going to get the flower and the flower pot back. You just have to break it with your fist and it will instantly break. So what we're going to do for today's actual project in the tutorial is we're going to go and place some flowers around, and we're going to make this area look a little prettier than it is. We have our pot which we can add some of the 2 high flowers to, and we also have some buildings that we can pretty up here with some flower pots. So let's see here, let's add some rose bushes in here, and that's probably enough, to be honest with you. We don't need too many. We'll have a peony right there. And what else? We've got some lilac. Maybe we'll have some lilac near this entrance here. Here we go. And of course we need to have some sunflowers. There we go. And they're kind of offset somewhat, but they generally face east, which is pretty cool. I like that kind of offsetness, I guess. So they're the 2 high flowers in action. And let's head over here. There's so many eggs everywhere. There's chickens everywhere. So if we go in here, I don't really have a place for flower pots in here, honestly, other than on top of the crafting table. There is no benches or anything in here. So I'll put one on there. What would a blacksmith usually have? Blue orchid. How about that? We'll have a blue orchid in here. You can't bone meal these 1 high flowers, by the way. To get more, you have to just go out and find them, or bone meal grass to get them. The brewery here. I wonder what you would have in a brewery. Flowers aren't really a thing that you would have in a brewery, typically. I'm sure we'll find something, though. I'm not even sure if in this one we have benches. I know we have them for the brewing stands, but yeah, I didn't think we had them anywhere else. So I guess it's just going to be a case of we'll put one on top of the furnace for the time being. And we'll probably put a... Oh, by the way, you could put dark oak saplings and acacia saplings in the flower pots as well. We'll actually leave a dark oak in here. So that's something to remember. I almost completely forgot about that, because you just don't use it very often. Oh, I thought something was burning down then. And of course, the wizard's tower needs some love. We need to get some flower pots in here. We'll probably get some more of the mysterious flowers in here. And maybe we should add some of the 2 high flowers in here as well, like some lilac, a couple of peonies as well, and maybe a sunflower next to the entrance like that. There we go. So up here we'll have nowhere to put anything, but up here we will. We can have some flowers in the windows. So we'll maybe have one here and one there, and we'll have... Let's see, well, maybe we'll have some tulips up here. We'll have white and red. Okay, so kind of decorating things out here. I may tweak this off camera and kind of make things look a little prettier and add some new trees in the plains biome. And one project I'm working on steadily off camera, particularly you'll notice if you download the world, is I'm stripping out all the snow out of that taiga biome, because snow will no longer generate there, as it will look a lot better, I think, than the snow that is there now. And you can kind of see I've been working on it somewhat, but not completely finished yet. So that's one thing I'm also working on there, and it's taking its time. Obviously that will be completed probably within 10 to 15 episodes time, I would have thought. It's just kind of a background project. But I'm probably going to scatter a couple of these new flowers around in the plains biome, and some trees, just to kind of make it look a little nicer. Got my original hidey hole over there. Seems like my render distance is bigger than normal. I would never normally see that. I guess we're not too far away, are we, from my initial hidey hole there. What's my render distance at? 16. Oh, 16 chunks. Goodness, I only have it on 8. I don't know why it was on 16, that's for sure. Oops. So I think we're going to conclude the tutorial here, guys. Kind of a short tutorial, in a sense, that there was not too much to talk about. But we've kind of had an introduction to the new flowers, plants, and blocks that were added in Minecraft 1.7 and some of their unique features. So I hope to see you in the next episode, when we're going to be looking at some other small changes. We're going to be looking at the item frame and written book changes next episode. Again, just another kind of small tutorial that I would like to do and kind of fix up some other things around the world here. But until then, guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial, and I'll see you next time. So, see you later, and have a good day.